how you know your daughter's a food addict from generations of food addicts ourselves. Number one, your daughter might be hiding food or the trash from food. She's either hiding eating in her closet, or she's hiding in the bathroom at school eating, or you get a call from the school or a neighbor and she's just hiding and eating all kinds of stuff that you normally wouldn't have her eat at home. I think that I was in denial when I noticed that you were hiding the food in the trash. I didn't understand it. I felt really overwhelmed and confused. Like, I would go to the trash can and I noticed it was full already, and I'm like, where is all this trash coming from? Like, are people in the neighborhood throwing their trash away in our trash can? Yeah, and I'm like, why is there trash like in this like stool that's supposed to be a storage area for shoes? And I'm like, why is it full of like pizza boxes and, you know, hamburger things? Like, I really felt confused and overwhelmed because I wanted to believe you and you were lying about it. And then there was all this money that you used of mine to buy the food.
What's the solution?
Yeah, so the solution is to have a lot of grace, patience, and honest conversations. But honestly, none of that was valuable for you. Like, it didn't help. What helped was me continuing to believe that your recovery was possible and that I would be a stand for that no matter what. No matter how many lies you told or how much you stole on you, like, just to really be a stand for that and to do whatever was necessary to keep snapping you back into reality. Whether that was a walk in the park or taking you on a vacation or threatening you to send you away to a therapeutic boarding school or getting other people involved in your recovery. And I really do look at it as like it was a recovery.
Number two, obsessing about food, something I used to do a lot. I remember while I would be eating, I'd be thinking about my next meal. And I did that a lot. And
It's kind of like a family thing, actually.
It is. But I also would be obsessive about what kinds of food I would be eating, like thinking about how many boxes of pizza I'm going to eat today and what restaurant I'm going to order it from and what time it's going to be there and what time I'm going to get it. And just like an OCD obsession about food.
Yeah, and so obsessing about food, like you really love to watch food videos on your...
Watched hundreds of food videos.
Yeah, spending a lot of time thinking about food. And I know that for us, now we still think about food, but it's more about planning and preparation. So I don't think that we ever completely lose the obsession for food.
But I think we shifted the relationship with it, yeah.
Yes.
By, now we prepare, I remember I was just on the plane the other day and I was preparing a bunch of vegetables for my plane ride. It did take me about an hour to cut, peel, wash, slice in perfect containers that were gonna be, TSA approved. But it was well worth it because on the plane, as everyone was eating their ultra processed foods and there were overweight people around me obsessing about their next meal, their next snack for this 12-hour plane ride, I had about 7 different options in my bag that I felt confident about, excited about, and not obsessive about, but just sane, knowing that I had great options available to me that weren't going to put me behind in my journey.
Yeah, and I think that planning and preparation are key, and there is a fine line between obsessing and that, because you just simply can't find healthy food at airports. So I had trumpet mushrooms with a macadamia nut parm. I know, it was extraordinary. And then I had these gorgeous purple sweet potatoes that I baked with water, steam baked. And then I had made this amazing salad with these sea veggies in it that had a really nice salty crunchy flavor. And I made this gorgeous hemp seed, olive oil, lemon juice salad dressing for it that just was over the top. And then I sliced radishes and carrots like you did with a little bit of macadamia nut cheese.
Oh,
yeah,
I did raw almond butter for mine.
Oh, they let you through. Oh, I actually had pumpkin seed butter.
They let you through?
They did, actually, because it was in a really small container. And then I had some cut up fruit, papaya and bananas.
They actually held me at TSA. They took my bag because my electrolyte powder and they put it in the little bomb checker.
Oh my gosh.
If it was bombs. No, they let it through though.
Oh, they did.
They did. It was so funny.
Number 3 is if your daughter is expressing a lot of moodiness, which I think is normal for adolescents. So let's just think that's a hard one to wrap your head around. But when the moodiness is really focused around guilt and shame, there's this blame, shame, and guilt cycle that we're all very familiar with. And if your daughter is overly feeling guilty and overly feeling shameful, and you notice that she's putting on weight or she's losing weight, she may be indicating signs of food addiction. So what do you do about it? Again, you have to have a lot of patience and you have to have honest conversations with her, because that's you have to stay really close to your daughter but not be overbearing. And if you take too much distance and leave her to her own vices, if she's heading down the food addiction route, which most of our daughters are, frankly, you've got to be able to be there and have her trust you and feel safe about sharing things with you. Because if you overreact when she's moody or she's guilty or shameful, you're not really listening, quality listening, which I fail to do a lot of times. then you're not going to have that pathway of communication that's open with your daughter, because she's not going to want to talk to you, because she's going to feel more guilt and more shame. So she's just going to separate and take distance. So creating a safe environment where you're really listening to what she has to say, not that you need to validate it, but that you're really deeply listening in a way that she feels safe and she feels heard. And also, I'm not saying you can't be proactive in trying to help your daughter, but if you can get yourself educated about how to deal with her shame and her guilt, it will really, really help. Sometimes even telling her that she shouldn't feel that way is not good.
I also would say that if she's moody and guilty and she has a binge eating disorder and you have sugar and flour in your house, that's definitely contributing to her moodiness. Because when I was 320 pounds eating a lot of sugar, I was super moody, and I was extra moody when I ate sugar. And my mom would know. I think you called me out. You'd be like, did you just have sugar? Like, what did you just eat? Because you would want to know, like, the root of why I was being so mean. And you get angry at people when you're on sugar. I don't know why, but you do.
Yeah, and I think also when you set a goal and you successfully fulfill that goal, you have less guilt and shame, because you're building trust with yourself and you're building confidence with yourself. And so I know that you and I, a number of times, like we're setting goals. You went through different phases about how you wanted to measure your weight, and the scale wasn't one of them. You and I were really clear that you didn't want to step on a scale. So we did like measurements, for example, and you not only hit your goals, but you superseded them. And so I think having those, helping with blame and shame, can also be setting a goal that's realistic and achievable when you achieve it.
Number 4, craving things despite being satiated. Now that's very interesting, because when I was overweight, I would be eating something and I'd be full, but I'd crave sugar afterwards because I was in the addictive brain, which people don't talk about. But processed foods, highly palatable foods like flour, sugar, and even foods with like seed oils in it can cause so many cravings because your body's addicted to the chemicals. And since age 6, I started eating processed foods behind my mom's back because I was a food addict. Hence the title of this video. And I would be so hungry for those foods because I was actually trying to fulfill like an emotional need inside my heart. So after a meal, not only would I be addicted to having other foods, even though I was completely full, but I'd go to my closet and I'd go eat the Oreos or whatever. And the way I decided to stop doing that was, if I was hungry for something sweet after because of my sugar addiction, I would replace it. Rather than eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's, I would just blend up some frozen bananas in the blender, add some Lily's chocolate chips, and I would feel satiated with that craving without feeling like I couldn't have it at all. And that really helped me lose the weight. But it wasn't really my intention when I ate that food. It was just because I didn't want to eat sugar anymore. And so if you're a mom out there, you can be educated in knowing how to swap the foods out that your daughter maybe loves for better options, that she can succeed on her journey and not be addicted to sugar anymore. So
Step it up.
Yeah, we'll just step it up. So that's what we teach and what we preach, and we have hundreds of recipes about how to do every step.
It's pretty extraordinary, because like if you want French fries, then you can also get to the root of what you're really hungry for, and you could also get French fries, but you just bake them.
Yeah,
that's one step.
All the different kinds of things you can make French fries out of. Turns out you can do parsnips, and you can do rutabagas and sweet potatoes and potatoes.
It's very confronting for a parent when you've served them a healthy meal and then they want more. And then they're making excuses for why they need more. Oh, well, I was at volleyball practice, or I did this, or I did that. And you know that it's too much food. And yet, if you say, no, you don't need that, which is what one of my parents did, and I used to get really angry.
You did that to me. I was so frustrated.
That was like the least favorite phrase of mine when I was a kid. You don't need that. And I'm like, what do you know about what I need? Of course I knew a lot about what I needed, but it is really challenging as a parent, because you don't want to be like, you don't want to say that, but you know that. And you need so it's very tricky. So learning those substitutions, like you said, Penelope, is a really great tool. Like hey, we don't have ice cream, but we have frozen bananas. Can we make ice cream? I'll make you a special ice cream tonight, or something like that. Because when you do satiate your body with the fiber-rich foods, as opposed to highly processed foods or desserts, you're definitely going to not feel hungry anymore. So watch for these signs and start to try to be there as a helpful parent to the best of your ability. It is very tricky and extremely challenging. That's why we're here, though, to support you. Another very telltale sign of whether your daughter might be heading towards food addiction is eating so much food that she feels sick. And the only way to relieve that feeling of fullness might be to throw up. And so, of course, if you notice that your daughter's throwing up after meals, you've got a problem on your hands. Unless she's, of course, has a stomach virus or food poisoning. It's a very sobering moment when you're confronted with this reality that your daughter may be bulimic or anorexic. And as much as we tried to reach for support from psychotherapists and group support, at one point you were in therapy 3 times a week, Penelope, and our bills for therapy were exceeding $2,000 a month. And it was really challenging, but it's quite serious because the resulting anxiety and depression and ill health for the rest of her life were looming in our future. And so I think getting the support is important, especially if you don't feel like you're capable of helping. Now, finding good qualified support is a problem because even with all of that support, you weren't making progress. It's really tricky, and that's why you absolutely have to get supported. Please, please, please comment below and let us know if you're struggling. And even if you don't feel like you can let us know in the comments, because maybe it's just even too private, because it's just not the thing you want to talk to your friends about, definitely don't want to talk to your family about, but it's like the elephant in the room, quite literally, and you know what's happening. Please, please, please click the link in the description and contact us. Reach out to us. We will grant you free time where we can counsel you on what your options are, whether you work with us or not. But please know that we are looking for 12 women who that we can help to heal their relationship with food, because I found that as I became healthier in my mind and body, my daughter Penelope got healthier in her mind and body.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.